Special Emergency Reaction Team and our Hostage Negotiating Team Tactics and our Command and Control. That outside expert made some very strong recommendations about command and control. After that, we instituted our critical incident commander. So we specifically train our commanders that are selected for this assignment in the dynamics of tactical incidents as well as best practices. They go to outside training as well, not just police bureau training. And then when we have a CERT call out or a CERT incident, those commanders arrive and take charge of the scene of the tactical incident as well as the communication team. Specific to communications, I think in any tragedy, you're probably going to look at breakdowns in communication. It is endemic in police work. Communication is a factor of everything we do. When you have tragedies, oftentimes there is a breakdown in communication. We're human. Communication is never as seamless as you would hope it would be. To that end, though, we have trained our officers and specifically our sergeants about critical incident command and managing these events, getting people in the same situational awareness so that key information is passed to all levels of the organization that's on scene, and making sure that officers know what is expected of them, what their role is, and also what the outcome that we desire is.
And so with the Campbell case then coming after Gorder and those recommendations that you just referenced being implemented, did something not happen there that you would have expected to have happened given the training that occurred?
Well, again, specific to the Campbell incident, we disciplined people that were on scene because they didn't follow our training policies.
So as a result of the recommendations that were out of order, we had a level of expectation that wasn't met.
And training specific to that.
So I appreciate both the report and your responsiveness to it. It's good to see in looking through the recommendations that many of them you've already done or are in progress, and I appreciate that. Could you remind me what the status of the racial profiling actions are, where we are with following through on that report?
Again, that was a report that came out of Chief Sizer's office. I have read the recommendations. We are moving forward on a number of areas. We're working with the Human Relations Committee on diversity training for our officers in the next end service. I'd be happy to provide you details of that.
I think there was some expectation that a report would come back to council. Is that going to be able to happen sometime this year?
I'll have to look at the report. I don't recall specifically whether or not we were to report back to council, but I'm happy to do that.
Because I know there has been a lot of good work being done with the Human Rights Commission and the Community and Police Relations Committee. I think it would be helpful to let the community know what's happening, and then also I think the Office of Equity and Human Rights can be helpful in monitoring and making sure that things get done.
Thank you.
One more thing, I just wanted to note that we, in collaboration with the State PDX project, Elizabeth Garrettson and others, that you have instituted a policy of stepping back in situations where somebody may be armed and suicidal, but there's no immediate danger to others. And I know that in the past 6 months, or since we instituted that policy, that there have been many people saved because that we didn't have some of these incidents that are so clearly outlined in this report because the police have chosen to do that. And just yesterday we had a really successful resolution of somebody who was in crisis. We will continue to work with Captain Westbrook in your office with Dr. Garrettson and others to continue to find ways to make it safer and to provide alternatives to calling 911 for people in crisis. So
I appreciate your comments because our officers, I think what goes unrecognized is that we deal with people in crisis every day, and it's overwhelming. And our officers do exceptionally good work. And when they arrive on the scene of a person in crisis, they often save a life. And we, last year, we took about 1,100 people into protective custody that were threatening to harm themselves or someone else. And we got them help, we got them appropriate care. Our officers do remarkably well in difficult circumstances every day.
And then that's something else that I'd like to have our report back to council about, because I think we write properly, look at when we've had tragedies and what we can learn from those. I think we also need to learn from what we've done right. In addition to the critical incident reviews, I would encourage you to do routine reviews of when things went well and how did they go well? What was it that made a successful resolution? Because I think we sometimes fail to stop and recognize when either officers or others have done a very good job, and we can learn from each other. Your officers are, by their nature of their work, in patrol cars by themselves, and so having a mechanism, hopefully through the new training facility, where that knowledge can be shared on an annual basis and have the discussions about, I tried this and it worked, or I tried this and it didn't work, particularly in some of these very challenging situations, I think would be really helpful.
Thank you.
Mayor, just